if she keeps saying I don't know or maybe when it comes to seeing each other, then usually, in my experience, it's not down to her being just confused or isn't actually sure. Usually it's just down to attraction and the lack of attraction, unfortunately. But it's okay, because in this video we're going to dissect what 90% of the time what the culprit is, which is you being too available, which is causing that lack of attraction. Now, I just want to quickly put it out there that I'm no therapist or anything like that, but I am someone with real life experience, and I've researched a lot about the masculine, feminine energies and relationships through simply videos like this, and reading books and articles, and I feel quite confident that I can speak to you just as kind of like a mate advice, and hopefully really help you in these situations, because I'm speaking to you as if it's kind of like myself before I learnt these kind of tactics to help you in your relationship life, and it's great. And when you know, and it can really help you. I'm not perfect. My relationships aren't perfect at all, but they're certainly loads better than they used to be. Okay, so let's go straight into it. And this video is specifically, like I said, we're focusing on you're being too available, and that's killing the attraction and causing those things like, I don't know, unsure about seeing each other type of thing, which is horrible. No one should ever go through that. You just want to spend time with them, you're putting everything into them, and they're like, I don't know, maybe, like, right. So we're going to go into what you're doing, and if you can kind of agree with most of these things I'm about to say, then we're definitely talking about you, and hopefully this kind of strategy that I'm going to tell you about will most likely help in this scenario. Of course, there could be, I don't know your relationship, there could be all kinds of things happening. You could be with an absolute woman that's nutty as a fruitcake, or you could have done like bad things in the relationship, and there could be a whole can of worms that's been opened. So basically, I'm going over the kind of 90% of the time, what's happened and what's fixed this type of thing when I've been in relationships, right? So I want to go straight off by what you're doing, like I said, and the first one's going to be you always kind of saying yes. You're a bit of a yes man when it comes to the relationship. If she's saying, let's go out, are you free later? Yes. What you doing now? Like, can we do this? Yes. Always yes, right? And this kind of ties into kind of changing your plans for her, right? So I don't know, you might have planned to go see a friend, one of your mates, and then she's gone, can we go shopping and go here? And then you've just gone, yes. And then said to your mate, look, I can't make it anymore, I've got this come up, maybe make a lie and stuff, because you get to see your girlfriend. If that's you, then it's looking like this video is going to be very good for you. You are reluctant to plan things with your friends. So this is kind of when your friend might say, look, I want to do something with you, let's go play golf or something, and you're reluctant to book it because you're thinking, I could book it this weekend, but I might see my girlfriend, and I don't want to book something there when I could be seeing my girlfriend. So let me go speak to her, see what she's doing, pull it past her, see if she'll meet first, and if she says yes, then I won't meet with my friend. This kind of behaviour, okay? That's what I'm talking about. And then the last one I've put for this one, and if you see me looking down, I've made a lot of notes, and I'm doing this. I hope it's not too robotic, but I've really thought about this and gone through past relationships and really figured out where I've gone wrong, and I've even put a bonus example at the end of where I've seriously gone wrong and cost a relationship due to this issue. So you've got to be careful with it, but we'll go into that in a bit. So the next one is that you have no kind of consistent appointments, and by appointments I mean, say, going to the gym could be an appointment. Say going to the gym at 6 p.m, 6 or 7 p.m. every single day, and that's kind of an appointment that's set, and you do, or you do, say, football training every week, maybe on a Sunday or in the week, and that's an appointment, and you go and you do it. Any kind of training like that, anything, could be lessons on something, it's an appointment, that you do, and it's set. If you have a lack of those, then that's also kind of what I'm talking about, which are things that can play into this problem. So if you can say yes to all of them, then it's quite likely that she's going to start saying things like the following. So she's going to rarely ask to meet. You'll be the one that's kind of asking to meet a lot, right? The other one is what I mentioned at the start of this video, which was the kind of maybes that I don't know when you ask to meet, right? And then the other one is, this one's a bad one. It really gets you there. And it's, you're like a brother to me, or like a friend. And this can be a really cute, nice way, you know, and in the right ways, in the romantic ways, this can be like almost like a lovely compliment. But if it's in the negative way, which is like, I don't know, you might want to have a romantic date night or something, and something just doesn't feel right. You're asking her what's up, and it's like, something doesn't feel right. Like, we've been spending a lot of time. It also like almost feels like we're like siblings a little bit. Like, it's a bit weird. I know if you ever had that, it's horrible. Or even like the friend, like we kind of feel like we're just kind of like friends because we hang out so much, we just do things, you know. So yeah, the other one is a terrible one, and these last three actually, they're terrible. First one is that she's seeking other men's attention. Horrible, but you can always feel it. Men, we know exactly what's happening by the looks of their faces, you know, when they're speaking to that barista in the coffee shop. Yeah, we know. By the way she's going to the gym and you know, speaking to people in the gym or anything, we can pick up on these energies of what she's seeking, right? And the other one can be actually like flirting and actually going that extra step, and maybe going to the gym with her boy friend. Imagine, yeah, things like this that are just, it gives you that little feeling in your stomach that is not nice. And then the last one is cancelling on you, which can be horrible. I had a relationship where it was this exact thing, and it was because of this availability issue. And she'd cancel on me, and I actually broke up with her because she cancelled on me too much. And she obviously, of course, came back to me in the end, because the attraction base level is actually still there. It's just the way I'd been acting was too like feminine, I guess, and I wasn't being strong and firm on my my mission, really. Don't want to go into it too much because I'll ramble on, and I want this to be a concise video. But pretty much I got rid of her because she was cancelling too much, when actually if I had gone about it this way, we'd still be together. Whether she was the right person I'd want to be with now is a different story, but yeah, there we go. So why? So we're going into why this is all happening. So we know what you all started doing, you know what she started doing, and it's weird because why is this a thing? And I'm putting this in the video because a lot of relationship videos, they're out there and they say do this, do that, but I think it's important to know why, because then you can come across less robotic, right, in the relationship. So what's really going on is, we know that you don't value your time, right? Even though as much as you might think so, if you're spending all of your time with her, then you're not valuing your time as such, because you have hobbies, man. Of course you do. You have goals. I'm sure you do. Even if they're deep down in there, you have some goals. Is there a goal with your physique? Do you want to lose some weight? Do you want to add some muscle? There's plenty of things that you can be doing with your time, but if you're spending all your time trying to have your time with her, then there's other times, there's other ways that your time can be spent. And essentially, if you're not valuing your time, then she's not going to value it. Just think about that for a moment. Why would she? So if she doesn't value your time, and it in that time is your attention, is what you're giving to her. So essentially, she's then not valuing your attention as much. And that's what it really is. And therefore, that's why she's seeking other people's attention, because your attention isn't worth much, right? Excuse me. So you can then kind of see why these other things will come into play and why she would chase other men, right? So with this, there's a few things that come into play as well, and I like to sometimes bring in the idea of smothering, of like a candle, or like a fire, you know, because at the end of the day, her attraction for you, you need to let it flourish, right? With absence makes love go stronger. We've heard that before. So this is like, it all ties into the same thing, but you know, if you're on top of her, metaphorically of course, you know, trying to meet up with her, call her up, then there's no time for her to miss you, you know. So you smother now. And I do want to touch on a subject of the attraction could not be recoverable, and this is very unlikely, because you're in a relationship, there was initial attraction there, you would have had to do a lot of things to lose it, and the only time this would really happen is if you're kind of bad, in the sense of you're doing things wrong in the relationship for a long period of time, and that even with these tactics you might not be able to recover that attraction back. It's quite unlikely though. It's got to be real bad, and usually she would have probably already broken up with you by now, but it can get turned around, and trust me, I've turned it around very quickly before when it's very much felt like the end, or it has been the end. So don't worry too much about this, because at the end of the day, if this is the case, you're giving it its best shot, in my opinion, of getting the relationship back together. So it's one of them, but I just wanted to warn you that it could be the case. But if it is, then go out there and get a fitter woman, right, on Tinder or something. You could literally have a date this weekend. Anyway, who actually wants to have a date? I'm not just going to say maybe all the time. All right, but let's go into the actual tactic now. So we're going to step back. This is quite a common thing. Probably heard about it, of course. We know that we need to kind of have some form of pulling back to and to be less available. It makes sense, right? But the reason for this video is because there's ways to do it and there's ways not to do it. So what we're going to do, simply start valuing your time, okay? And this just simply means looking at your time, which is your schedule, as something to track your time, right? And then you see, well, what do you do with your time? You do an average week. Just, you don't necessarily have to write it all down, but with nowadays with AI, you can probably just have a chat with AI and tell it what you do, and ask, you know, where can I fit this in, right? And this is the thing which we're going to go on to, is your hobbies, your interests. What do you want to do? What goals do you have? What hobbies do you have? See where you can fit those into play, okay? If you've ever wanted to learn a language, there's plenty of online tutors online for like very, very cheap, and you could slot that in for a couple times a week, and that's one appointment there, right? Go to the gym every day. There's one appointment. If you can't afford to go to the gym, then have your gym slot at your house. Press ups, pull ups, plenty of things that you can do on the cheap, but the main thing you're making is working towards a goal, and you're also making an appointment. Of course, try and make, this is just a bit of personal growth advice, I guess, is try and make it productive. Try and not have your appointment gaming for an hour. Try and have it something that's positive and is going to help you grow. So yeah, the main thing is, once these appointments are set, is that you don't want to cancel them, and you keep them set. And of course, I mentioned at the start of the video, you know, you might not be seeing your friends as much. See your friends and set those as appointments. I kind of have one mate I genuinely meet every Thursday or so for a pint, and it's fairly consistent. So that's an appointment, and it happens, and it doesn't get cancelled. My girlfriend can't say, I want to meet this night. No, I'll say, well, I'm meeting so and so tonight. So they're appointments, and the most important thing is that you keep them and you don't cancel, right? And second important point, in those meetings, you don't message your girlfriend. Your phone goes in your pocket or locked away somewhere, or do not disturb, and you're listening, right? So what this does, and by the way, on these points, it's not all, you need more, and we're going to go into it more. So just before you kind of click off and go off, I'm not just trying to retain you. Once I've said this, said the last point and the mistake I made, click off, sure. But you need to hear this, because this is where it can actually cost your relationship, which it did in my case, unfortunately, right? So yeah, so what this does is basically increases her attraction for you again, because it did used to be hard for you to be together, and it just brings it back, and it does that through just a little bit of mystery. A little bit of mystery is good. As I said, absence makes the love grow stronger, so there's no harm in a bit of mystery. The things that we're interested about can spark a bit of curiosity, and she might show that in, hey, what you doing? Hey, not much, babe, let's go to this restaurant tonight, I want to take you out, you know. So yeah, she'll basically push the jump to see you a lot more now by asking, and also when you ask, she's gonna take it. She's gonna be like, yeah, sure, let's do it, right? And the most important thing is when it's tied to you being bettering yourself, she's gonna be proud of you, man. She's gonna see these improvements, and she's gonna see that you're actually respecting them, even if you're cancelling, even if she has a go at you for not cancelling the gym for her. On the long term, she'll be proud and she'll respect that, and you'll start to see her, instead of flirting with these guys, she'll start showing off to these guys, saying, oh, my boyfriend does that, yeah, my boyfriend goes to the gym, my boyfriend does this and that, you know. And that, instead of those heart painful feelings and that horrible feeling in the stomach, it's actually an amazing feeling, and you feel loved, and that's what relationships are about, right? So yeah, it's great. Now I'm going to go into this mistake, which you've probably been waiting for. I'm sorry to keep it going on for so long, but I need to get the idea of what you need to do, and then what I did wrong, for you to get the full picture. So I heard the similar kind of advice, but I'm giving you the advice from after doing it myself. But the advice out there that I heard was kind of like, pull back, let her come to you, don't speak to her much. I even remember heard this rule of like, wait 15 minutes after she messages you each time, which obviously young me was like, yeah, sure. And like, I do this because I was experiencing these issues in my past relationship, and it just caused a whole load of problems. Of course, initially it can work because it's like, okay, there's mystery there, but that's it, you're running off the mystery. And what actually, you're just becoming a bit of a dick, and that's what I did, because I ignored my girlfriend, my ex, right? I literally, she'd say something, I'd ignore her for maybe hours. I'd see it, but I'd think, oh, I'm going to leave her to wonder for a little bit. And then I'd wait for her to reach out to me. So she might go away on holiday or do something, and I just wouldn't text her. I'd wait for her to come to me, right? And I'd purposely hold information back from her. Like I'd not tell her something, and then just be like, oh yeah, I did this, blah blah blah. And then like what actually happened, right, was I'd grow apart from her, basically. And the weird thing is I do these things that almost as a kind of strength of independence, but then I'd be with her and be really, really close with her and simpy, and then she'd probably think, just get away from me, like we're spending too much time with her, because we might spend like a few nights together, And then I'd go off, and then I'd think, oh right, yeah, I'm back on my shit. Yeah, let's start ignoring her again. Yeah, and then she'll want me back. And it's just horrible, and that's inconsistency, and that is not trustworthy whatsoever. So that basically cost the relationship, because I was a dick, literally just being a dick. So the way we mitigate this, right, is basically doing what I said, is just be wholesome, you know, actually do things with your time. And what I mentioned earlier, which was don't speak to her whilst you've got, say, like an appointment. Correct. Don't speak to her, but tell her what the appointment is. Tell her what you're doing. Say, hey babe, just going to the gym for an hour. I'll speak to you in a bit. And they love that, you know. Keep her updated. You don't have to like tell her 24/7 what you're doing, but she's your girlfriend at the end of the day. So call her, give her an update, and say, oh, morning babe, how are you? There's nothing wrong with saying that. Morning text every morning, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people hate it, but of course, something too kind of regimented, it can take away spontaneity, which I completely agree with. But women, when you get closer and more into a proper relationship, they like that closeness. And if you're too harsh with this pullback, then you risk like killing the spark. So yeah, it's a tough one, and I'm saying this because you just got to be careful with it. And at the end of the day, one thing I'll leave you with, right, is you're doing all this self-improvement on the side of this relationship to build yourself up, and you got to think of it in the mindset of you're building yourself up, you're doing it, you maybe have a purpose of your dream life, a house you want, support your family, your kids, and you're doing this, building yourself better, ultimately so that you're a better boyfriend for her or husband to her. You got to think of it like that, and that's in my opinion the healthiest way to look at this tactic that a lot of people talk about online. Anyway, I hope that helps, and please in the comments I'd love to know your opinions. If you've tried something like this where it's gone wrong, did you make the same mistake as me, or are you going to try this? Let me know how it goes, and we can perhaps discuss it in a future video. I'd love to, of course, with your permission, we can dissect it and go down. On my channel you'll see my email, and you can always send me an email of more in depth if you wanted something a bit more private, or it's just too big for the comment section. Sure, go ahead, man. So it's lovely to speak to you all, and take care, and I'll see you all next time. See you in a bit.